116 people landed on an island off the coast of North Carolina. They established a foothold long before the Jamestown colony was founded in Virginia, before the Pilgrims landed at Plymouth Rock. But the fate of the Roanoke settlement remains a mystery. Is it possible for all these people, all these buildings, this entire community, to disappear without a trace? Great civilizations have flourished and then disappeared. The culture of Egypt testifies to man's skill in engineering. The ancient Greeks left us beauty in form and architecture. The Mayan pyramids pay tribute to a race that blossomed and then mysteriously disappeared. Modern archaeologists have used the remains to decipher how these civilizations began. But there is an island off the Carolina coast that even today still hides the secret beginnings of America. The story begins in England, 1587. Elizabeth has been queen for almost a quarter of a century. Her favorite courtier is Sir Walter Raleigh, a man of ambitious vision. Sir Walter implores Elizabeth to allow him a bold venture, establish a foothold in the New World, which has until now been dominated by Spain. With her approval, he gathers 116 men, women, and children to brave an ocean crossing. A colony is established on Roanoke Island, just off North Carolina. Barely are some of the first houses up when a problem becomes apparent. If the colony is to survive, more supplies are needed from England. On a clear day in August 1587, Governor John White bids goodbye to his beloved daughter Eleanor, to her husband Ananias Dare, and to his only grandchild Virginia Dare, 9 days old, the first English child born in this new land. Every colonist is aware of the dangers of an Atlantic crossing for a man of White's age. Meanwhile, the governor hides his anxiety about this handful of people being virtually defenseless. They are extremely vulnerable. The threat of attack by unfriendly Indians who had already killed one of their people, the specter of a long, cold winter. Could the colonists plant enough food to ward off starvation? Will Governor White or anyone else ever see them again? When Governor White arrived in England, he rushed about London, frantically trying to line up the necessary supplies and a ship for the voyage back. He wanted to return to Roanoke as quickly as possible to ease the colonists' worry about being totally isolated. The governor's timing could not have been worse. England is gearing up for a war to the death with Spain, whose mighty armada is poised to strike. Sir Walter Raleigh beseeches the Queen to send supplies, but she will not release a single ship. None of his pleading can force the Queen to change her mind. Spain's King Philip has assembled the greatest fleet the world had ever known, 137 ships with 30,000 men aboard. He hopes to crush the English Navy. When the battle is joined in the English Channel, the unwieldy Spanish galleons are no match for the longer-range English ships, whose captains include such famous seamen as Drake, Hawkins, Raleigh, and Frobisher. The Spanish Armada is soundly beaten. The English don't lose a single ship. The Spanish, more than 50. Britannia now truly rules the waves. Despite the victory, it is 3 years before Governor White can convince someone to take him back to Roanoke. John White is gravely concerned. Surely by now, someone from the colony should have sighted the ships or heard the signals. Cautiously, they approach the beach. After 3 long years and so many disappointments, White nervously awaits the realization of his dreams. But where are his people? Knowing the colonists would fear an attack by the Spaniards, White orders the piping of a familiar English tune to reassure anyone hiding in the woods. Still, there is no response. For the first time, a sense of fear pervades his thinking. The trail inland is familiar, but empty. As they move deeper into the woods, the landing party fears the possibility of an attack by Indians. Governor White remembers that although the Indians were at first peaceful, a killing had created tensions that could well have flared into violence after he left. The first sign of any habitation is not familiar to White. He finds a stockade. Presumably, it encloses the village. His hopes soar. But as he enters the gate, he is stunned. There is no sign of life. Eerie silence. The compound is overgrown. Nothing remains. Even the sturdy buildings are gone. If the Spaniards had burned the buildings, where are the charred remains? If the colonists had been ambushed, there should be bleached bones, something to tell the tale. There is nothing. Finally, one sign, a carved word, Croatoan.